Hey up everyone, welcome to the Rugby League History channel. I hope you're all well and you're looking after yourselves, you're staying inside and you're being good. So tonight's video is going to be my tips for week 1 of the 2020 NRL Finals series. I bet you're all really excited for the finals. We're getting down to the business end of the year, as they call it. There's 4 games to pick this week. So before I get into the video, I'd just like to see that if you're enjoying the content that I'm doing, if you're enjoying the playlists and all the other videos, then click that subscribe button and click that notification bell so you get an email when I do a new video. And make sure that you like the videos and you share them about with your family and friends. So there's a couple of hard games to pick from this weekend out of the 4, and there's a couple of easy ones in a way you could see. The first finals game kicks off Friday night. It's between Penrith and Eastern Suburbs, aka Sydney Roosters, and this match is being played at Penrith Stadium. It's a home final for Penrith as they finished as minor premiers, and they're up against Eastern Suburbs, Sydney Roosters, who came 4th on the table. And I've had a look at the team lists, and Penrith, they look pretty much unchanged, 1 through to 17. And for Eastern Suburbs, there's been a noted absentee with Jake Friend. He's dropped out of the side. Freddie Lussick comes in at hooker. And Mitchell Orbison, for some strange reasons, been left out of the top 17, and they've decided to go with Sonny Bill Williams in his place, and Lindsay Collins moves onto the bench. For this game, I'm going to go for Penrith to win this match. I know that they don't have a lot of the finals experience as Eastern Suburbs do. I know that some of their players haven't even played finals before, but I think they're on such a roll, 15 in a row that they've won. With Eastern Suburbs, I think that they'll come out in this game and they'll be looking to prove that maybe last week when they lost to South Sydney was a minor blip and it should be forgotten about. But I'm not too sure if they can recover from a match like that. You have to remember, no club since 1908 has conceded 50 points in a match and gone on to win the Premiership, and no club has won 3 in a row since Parramatta in the 1980s. So Eastern Suburbs have a bit of work to do if they're going to make it a three-peat this year, and I think that's Penrith in front of their own crowd are going to get the job done, and they're going to get the week off. The next game is on Saturday. This match is being played between Canberra and Cronulla Sutherland. This is the elimination final, so whoever loses this match, their season's over. This match is a home match for Canberra. It's being played at Bruce Stadium. Now, last week these two teams played against each other, and I've been seeing that it was basically Mount Pritchard Mounties against Newtown. Canberra had about 8 players out that they were resting. Cronulla had a few players out. So both sides, when you looked at them on paper, it looked like Mounties v Newtown, the New South Wales Cup. But for this game, Canberra's brought all their players back, obviously. They've got Charles Nickel Clockstack is back, and Jared Croker, and Rapane, George Williams, and Papali, and all that. And for Cronulla, Chad Townsend's back from suspension, and they've got a couple of other players that have retained. I see that Braden Trindle's dropped out of the team. He's in the extended squad. Wade Graham's there. Toby Rudolph's there. For this game, though, I'm going to go for Canberra to win. I think, defence has been a real problem for Cronulla, and I think Canberra is going to probably win by at least 12 to 20 points, maybe even more. You have to remember that Cronulla conceded 38 points against basically the Mounties team, not Canberra. So I think Canberra's going to be too strong for Cronulla on Saturday night. The next game kicks off straight after that on the Saturday. This match is being played at Suncorp Stadium. It's Melbourne up against Parramatta. And this game is a top 4 match. Melbourne finished 2nd, Parramatta finished 3rd. Whoever loses this game gets a second bite of the cherry, as they say. Parramatta, they're 0-6 against Melbourne in finals matches, although being a Parramatta fan myself, I'd just like to point out that I was kind of thinking about it the other day, and in 6 of those matches, 5 of them at Melbourne have been pretty much outright favourites, or they've finished as the minor premiers. So only in one of those matches was Parramatta the favourite, and that was way back in 1999. For this game though, all of Melbourne's stars are back, all their main players, Smith and Vunivalu and Munster and all the players that were out for the St George match. And for Parramatta, we've pretty much named a full strength side. Dylan Brown's back in the team, but I'm not too sure if that's just a bit of a smoke screen. Maybe Dylan Brown's not fit to play, but Arthur's named him anyway, and then in the last moment they'll put Jai Field in. I'm not too sure. But for this match, I'm going to go for Melbourne to win. I think Melbourne's going to win very well, unfortunately. I don't really think that Parramatta really stands much of a chance against Melbourne. Not just the fact that they have such a good record against us in finals matches, but also regular season matches. They have some sort of a hoodoo over us. Our defence was very worrying last week against West Tigers. Once again, you just pass the ball to the left-hand side or the right-hand side on the edges, and teams just seem to run rings around us. And I guarantee you, in the opening couple of sets of the game, Melbourne's going to be testing Ferguson and Wonga Blake and Sivo very quickly, very early on, and I can see Addo Carr just running rings around Ferguson. So I think Melbourne's probably going to win by about 20 to 30 points over Parramatta. And the final game to close out week 1 of the finals, it's going to be South Sydney up against Newcastle. This match is being played at ANZ Stadium on the Sunday. So South had the biggest win in their history against Eastern Suburbs last week, 60 points to 8. Newcastle had the chance to get a home final in Newcastle, but they blew it. So now they have to make the trip down to Sydney to play against South. Just looking at the teams for this match, Corey Allen's at fullback again for South. You got Johnston. You got pretty much the same team that they played against Eastern Suburbs. They've kept for this match. They got Jed Cartwright on the on the bench. They got Killian Matungi, Sirenen, who just signed a new deal. He's in the second row. And for Newcastle, looking at their team, it's pretty much the same team that they've had all year. There's no real major changes there. The thing with South, I've noticed this year, is that in a few matches they've either been behind or they've been in front, and they can just put tries on you just like that, bang, bang, bang. They can just go 3 or 4 tries in about 10 minutes, and if you're the other team, you kind of go, what happened, what hit us? And last week they pretty much played a perfect game against Eastern Suburbs, and the question is, can they continue that? Is it just like a one-off thing, or does it kind of come and go matches, or can they sustain that? Because I tell you, if South Sydney were to play like they did last week against Eastern Suburbs, they'd win the premiership. They'd pretty much be unstoppable, because they played so good last week. But the big question for this game is can South do that again? Can they show us that they can do that again? Because they've showed us in a couple of patches this year that they can, but it hasn't been consistent. And I think for that, South are going to be going into this match with a bit of pressure, because the media and people out there are going to be thinking they've just beaten East by that margin, and they're going to be expecting that same margin against Newcastle or thereabouts. Newcastle will be kicking themselves the fact that they missed the home final. But for this game, I'm going to go for South. I think South have timed their run to the finals pretty well, and I think that they've played some good rugby league over the last couple of months, and I think they're going to get the job done over Newcastle. I think they might win by about 12 to 16 points, and I think they'll book a finals match next week against either the loser of Melbourne or Parramatta. So that's me tips for the NRL finals week 1. Just before I go, I'd like to give a quick shout out. Now, I know that they probably don't watch me videos, or they probably don't know me, but I've been listening to this great podcast called the Rugby League Cemetery. You can get it on Spotify and I think Google Play. They've also got a Facebook page, and they do some really good podcasts. They talk about games that were from 20, 30 years ago, and I might not agree with everything that they say, but a lot of what they say I think is quite good. So if you're a rugby league fan and you got some time on your hands, you got Spotify or whatever, go and check out the Rugby League Cemetery. But anyway, that's my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure that you like and subscribe, and I'll be doing my next team season review tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Anyways, catch us all later everyone. Ta-ra.